Have you ever picked up an old coin and wondered if it might secretly be worth far more than its face value? Most people use coins every day without thinking twice about them. They pass from one hand to another in markets, buses, small shops, and street vendors. But sometimes, hidden among those ordinary coins is a piece of history that collectors around the world are searching for. Today we are going to talk about a fascinating coin from the Philippines that many people have seen but very few truly understand. The 1998 Banggong Lipunan One Piso Coin. At first glance, it may look like just another small coin used in everyday transactions. Millions of these coins circulated across the country, used to buy food, pay transportation fares, or make small purchases at local stores. However, for coin collectors and history enthusiasts, this coin represents something much more meaningful. It represents a story about a nation, its heroes, and its journey through history. The words Banggong Lipunan, which translate to New Society, carry deep historical significance in the Philippines. The phrase became widely recognized during the leadership of Ferdinand Marcos, when the government promoted the idea of rebuilding society and strengthening national identity. During that period and the years that followed, many symbols of national pride were introduced in public life, including currency. Coins were designed not only as tools for trade but also as reminders of the country's history, culture, and heroes. One of the most important features of the One Piso coin is the portrait of the legendary Filipino hero Jose Rizal. Rizal is one of the most respected figures in Philippine history. He was not a soldier leading an army, but a thinker, a writer, and a reformist who believed that knowledge and education were powerful weapons against injustice. His writings awakened the Filipino spirit and inspired people to dream of freedom and dignity. Two of his most famous novels, Noli Me Tangere and El Filibusterismo, exposed the problems of colonial society and encouraged Filipinos to think critically about their future. These books became powerful symbols of reform and resistance. Because of his influence and sacrifice, Jose Rizal eventually became recognized as the national hero of the Philippines. His portrait appearing on the One Piso coin serves as a reminder of his lasting legacy and the values he stood for. If you examine the coin closely, you will notice several important design elements. On one side of the coin appears the portrait of Jose Rizal, along with the words, Republica in Pilipinas. This inscription proudly represents the sovereignty and identity of the Filipino nation. The year 1998 is also stamped onto the coin, marking the time when this particular version was produced. When you flip the coin to the other side, you will see the official seal of the Bangko Sentral in Pilipinas. This institution is responsible for managing the country's monetary system and issuing currency. The seal represents stability, authority, and trust in the Philippine financial system. The design reflects both tradition and modern identity, connecting the past with the present. From a physical perspective, the 1998 One Piso coin was designed to be durable and practical for daily use. It is typically made from nickel-plated steel, giving it a silver-like appearance while keeping production costs relatively low. The coin has a round shape, a diameter of about 24 millimeters, and a weight of roughly 6 grams. Its smooth edge and sturdy construction allow it to survive years of circulation without easily breaking or bending. While millions of these coins were produced, the world of coin collecting has taught us that even common coins can sometimes become valuable. The value of a coin is not determined only by its age. Several factors play a role, including rarity, condition, historical significance, and sometimes even minting mistakes. Coins that remain in excellent condition, especially those that were never heavily circulated, often attract collectors who are willing to pay higher prices to add them to their collections. Another fascinating aspect of coin collecting involves mint errors. During the minting process, coins are produced using powerful machines that stamp designs onto metal blanks. Occasionally, small mistakes occur during this process. A coin might be struck slightly off-center, a design might appear doubled, or a crack in the minting die might create unusual lines across the surface. These small imperfections can turn an ordinary coin into a rare, collectible that stands out among thousands of others. Collectors around the world carefully inspect coins using magnifying tools and bright lights, searching for those tiny differences that make a coin unique. Sometimes a coin that looks ordinary at first glance turns out to be a rare coin that attracts strong interest in auctions and collector markets. Coin collecting in the Philippines has grown steadily over the years. Enthusiasts search through old coin jars, inherited collections, flea markets, and antique shops hoping to discover something unusual. Many collectors focus specifically on coins issued by the Bangko Sentral in Pilipinas, studying the different designs and years of production. The 1998 One Piso coin is particularly interesting because it represents a period when the Philippines was navigating economic changes and rebuilding after regional financial challenges in Asia. Coins from this era reflect both the country's resilience and its commitment to honoring national heritage. For most people, the 1998 One Piso coin may simply remain a piece of everyday currency. However, in the world of collectors, certain examples in excellent condition or with unusual mint characteristics can become desirable collectibles. The condition of the coin plays a major role in determining its potential value. Coins that have sharp details, minimal scratches, and original shine are much more attractive to collectors. If you happen to own one of these coins, it may be worth taking a closer look. Examine the surface carefully. Check the edges, lettering, and alignment of the design. Sometimes subtle details can reveal something special that most people would overlook. Coins are much more than pieces of metal used for buying and selling goods. They are tiny historical documents that travel through time, carrying stories from one generation to another. Each design, symbol, and portrait reflects a moment in the history of a nation. The presence of Jose Rizal on the coin reminds people of the power of ideas, courage, and education. His life continues to inspire Filipinos and people around the world who believe in justice and national identity. So the next time you come across an old coin, pause for a moment before spending it. Look at it closely. Think about where it has traveled and whose hands it has passed through. You might be holding a simple coin, or you might be holding a small but meaningful piece of history. And who knows, somewhere out there, a rare version of the 1998 Bangong Lapunan One Piso coin might still be waiting to be discovered by someone curious enough to take a closer look. If you enjoyed learning about this fascinating coin, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with friends who are interested in rare coins and hidden treasures. Because sometimes, the most ordinary objects from 1990 could actually carry a hidden story, a historical value, and in rare cases, even a surprising collector worth. Most people would laugh at that idea. After all, it's just a coin, right? 1 peso. Nothing special. Something you use for jeepney fare, snacks, or small daily expenses. But in the world of coin collectors, the story is completely different. Because sometimes, the most ordinary-looking objects hide the most extraordinary secrets. And today, we are diving deep into one of the most talked about coins among beginners and collectors in the Philippines. The 1990 Jose Rizal One Piso coin. At first glance, it doesn't look rare. It doesn't look special. It doesn't shine like gold. It doesn't look like treasure. But history is not always shiny. Sometimes history looks like pocket change. This coin was issued by the Bangko Sentral in Pilipinas as part of the regular circulation currency system. During that time, millions of coins were minted and distributed across the country. It was meant to be used by everyone: students, workers, drivers, vendors, and everyday citizens. And on the front side of the coin, you see the face of one of the most important figures in Philippine history, Dr. Jose Rizal, a writer, a thinker, a reformist, a national hero whose writings inspired revolution and shaped the identity of a nation. His image on this coin is not just decoration. It is symbolic. It represents intelligence, freedom, and national pride. But while most people recognize the face, very few actually stop to think about the coin itself. Because here's the truth. A coin is not just metal. A coin is a snapshot of history. Every scratch, every mark, every detail carries the journey of time, from minting to circulation, from hand to hand, from pocket to pocket. Now let's go deeper. The 1990 One Piso coin belongs to a generation of Philippine coins that are now considered vintage circulation coins. That means they are no longer newly produced, and over time, many of them have disappeared from normal use. Some were lost, some were damaged, some were melted down, some were simply forgotten. And this is where collector interest begins. Because in numismatics, the study of coins, rarity is not only about how few are made, but also about how many survived in good condition. A coin that survives 30+ years in clean, sharp condition becomes significantly more interesting than one that is worn out and heavily used. Now imagine a coin from 1990 that still looks almost new. Sharp edges, clear design, visible details on Jose Rizal's face, no scratches, no fading. That coin immediately stands out. Collectors call this condition uncirculated, or near mint state. And condition alone can sometimes change how a coin is perceived in value and demand. But condition is only one part of the story. There is another factor that makes collectors even more excited. And that is mint errors. Mint errors happen during production when something goes slightly wrong in the minting process. These are not intentional. They are accidental. And because they are accidental, they are rare. Examples include slight misalignment of design, weak strike where details are faded, off-center printing, doubled elements, unusual texture variations. Now here is the important part. In coin collecting, mistakes are not always bad. In fact, mistakes can make a coin valuable, because a mistake makes the coin different from millions of others, and difference creates demand. Now let's talk about something very important that many beginners misunderstand. Not every old coin is valuable. This is where a lot of confusion happens online. People often see videos claiming huge prices for common coins. But in reality, coin value depends on three main factors. First, condition. Second, rarity. Third, demand from collectors. If all three align, a coin becomes valuable in the collector market. If not, it remains face value. So where does the 1991 Piso coin stand? The honest answer is this: most of them are still common. But specific examples, especially those in excellent condition or with rare mint characteristics, can attract collector attention. Now let's slow down and imagine something. Imagine you are holding a coin that has passed through 30 years of history. It might have been used in a small shop in Manila. It might have traveled through thousands of hands. It might have been part of someone's daily life without them ever noticing its future potential. And now, decades later, it's sitting in your hand again. That is the beauty of coins. They don't just hold value. They hold time. Now let's go step by step and understand how you can actually examine a coin like this in real life. First, look at the year. Confirm it is truly 1990. Many coins look similar across years, so this is important. Next, observe the front design, the portrait of Jose Rizal. Pay attention to detail. Are the facial features sharp? Is the design clear or worn out? Does it still show definition in the engraving? Then flip the coin. Look at the reverse side carefully. Check for clarity in the text, symbols, and layout. Everything should appear balanced and properly aligned in a normal coin. Now slowly observe the edges and surface. Look for scratches, damage, discoloration, or unusual marks, because sometimes the smallest detail can change everything. Even a tiny error that most people ignore can sometimes become interesting to collectors. Now let's talk about value, but in a realistic way. A regular circulated 1991 Piso coin is usually still worth face value. But if a coin is in excellent condition, collectors may pay a premium depending on interest. And if it shows rare mint characteristics, its value can increase significantly in collector markets. But again, value is never fixed. It changes depending on who is buying, what collectors are looking for, and how rare the specific coin condition or feature is. And that is what makes coin collecting both exciting and unpredictable. Because sometimes, what looks like ordinary pocket change today can become tomorrow's collector's interest. Now think about this for a moment. Every coin tells a story, not just of money, but of history, economy, culture, and identity. The Jose Rizal One Piso coin is not just currency. It is a tribute to a national hero, whose ideas shaped a nation. So even if it is not rare in monetary terms, it still carries historical and emotional value. And that alone makes it worth paying attention to. Because in the end, the real question is not always how much is this coin worth. Sometimes the better question is, what story does this coin carry? And that is what makes the 1990 Philippines One Piso coin interesting for collectors, historians, and even everyday people who suddenly discover it in their pocket. So next time you come across an old coin, don't ignore it too quickly. Look closer, because sometimes the smallest things carry the biggest stories.